You guys got a lot of special teams work in today. I think it's the first day you've put that much work in since you've had the full pads on. Is it nice to see the guys popping around on special teams?
Oh, no question. I think the athleticism on our team and the buy-in to special teams has been really good. And Coach Herman is heavily involved in the special teams. We call them our special forces. We even, have the opportunity. We actually find former military guys that played football here at Florida Atlantic, and we actually honor them for each team. And so when we take the field, we're saying, hey, this is bigger than us, and it's for our team. And Coach Herman puts a lot of emphasis on it. We do a lot of things in practice. This was a great full padded practice to be able to work protections on punt, and then also work our kickoff scheme and get started on that.
If you could put your other hat on and talk a little bit about the progress of the tight ends from the spring to today.
I'm happy with where the tight ends have gone from spring to now. We still got a lot more work to do. I think we've got a really good room. I think we've got a really good culture going in there. They're guys that help one another, push one another, but also compete for a starting job. A lot will be told after this first scrimmage of who those guys will actually be as we start getting into game week. But I do think we've got a good room, and I think they have improved from spring to fall.
Speaking of the tight ends, that position has taken a few injuries with Elijah Brown and Jackson Sumlin being out due to injury. How much has that impacted the tight ends group in terms of stepping up to the plate?
Well, one thing we did is we added some extra tight ends into the room, and we were able to bring Khalil Brantley from the University of Miami. He transferred in. We have a couple freshmen in Zeke Moore and Finn Jones. So with the absence right now of Jackson Sumlin and Elijah Brown, those three new guys added depth and then also added opportunity to compete for the starting job. And all of those guys have really shown promise, athleticism, physicality, things that can lend to them maybe becoming the guy. Again, I think we got a few more practices to figure out who the guy's going to be, but I think we've got good depth in the room now.
Chad, with Coach Herman's offense, how big a part of that do you see the tight ends being?
I think the tight end can be a very huge part of the offense, and obviously it's up to the tight end room to show that they deserve to be a part of it. But I also think when you're able to use a tight end more versatile, if you're able to really do a great job in the run game and block, and then also be able to split out, be a wide receiver, make some damage in the pass game, I think that makes it hard on opposing defenses when you're in a tight end personnel set because you may not know what's coming as a defensive coordinator.
How much has the kicking and punting unit shined?
I think that's somewhere where it's a little bit of we're still trying to figure out because, last year Riley Thompson was our punter, and now we'll be figuring out who our new punter is going to be. Logan Lupo has done a tremendous job at the punter spot. Nick Salmon's competing very hard. Again, I think that's another top tier race right there in our special teams, and it's going to be the best man wins. But both guys are competing very hard. At field goal kicker, again, Logan Lupo is actually playing dual duty and is competing for that. Carter Davis is also in that as well. And I think, with those two guys, as they continue to battle it out, I think we can have a really good special teams as far as kicking and punting goes.
How about for the returning end for kicks and punts?
Yeah, returners, last year on kickoff return, we were more of a fair catch team. And, so there's some guys on our team that we really want to try out and look at and see what they can do. In the punt return game, LaJonte Wester has been really good for us in the past, and we expect him to be that way again. But then when you got guys like Jaquan Burton, who can jump back there and punt return and also be a kick returner as well, I think we've got guys that are weapons that we can definitely take advantage of in that aspect of the game.
And what's the biggest area you are having the tight ends improve on throughout fall camp?
Well, I think the biggest thing with the tight ends is football IQ. I think the big thing is understanding the concepts of plays. Lots of guys in when they're starting out, they'll just memorize their plays. And I think it's bigger than that. And I think our guys really need to continue to improve in that area to understand what the O-line's trying to do in the run game or in a pass protection if we're involved with that. Or if it's a pass route concept, what does the Z, the X, all those guys, what are they doing in the concept, and what is the quarterback reading, and why is my route important? So I think that's the biggest thing, is improving on football IQ.
You good? All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Reported the deepest line that I can remember that we've had. How difficult does that make your job and figuring out who the starting five will be and how to build chemistry throughout the rest of the camp?
Well, we have a lot of experience, like you said, and we're excited about that. It does make it challenging because we have a lot of really good players. So there's some battles going on for starting positions, even though we have guys that are returning 2- and 3-year starters. Marquise Robinson is a 3-year starter who's returning, so he's our most veteran player as far as being in the program, and he's battling to be the starter at left guard. As Coach Herman said when he came here, there's no position guaranteed. Every position's up for grabs. We'll make decisions at the right time when it's clear that this is the best player, but he's battling with Dorian Hinton at guard. Dorian was a starter for us last year for 10 games. You move over to the other guard position, you got Kamar Bell over there. He started for 2 years on and off. You've got Andre Lamas is playing some right guard. You've got Alex Aktavich who's playing some right guard. He's playing some center. Federico's playing center. Lamas is playing center. We're rotating a lot of people, so there's a lot of battles going on. At the tackle position, same thing. We have Malcolm Lamar at left tackle, and he's battling with the transfer that we brought in January, Wallace Anamba. And Chaz is playing right tackle, and he's battling with Woody Jean and Jordan Church over there. So we're not letting any of them rest. If they have a bad day, I put somebody in front of them. We're rotating. Whoever has the best day gets to go out there and jog out with the first team. So nobody's been locked in as the number one guy at any position yet, and that's been good for us. So I think we're a solid 2 deep for the start of the season if we can stay healthy.
Ed, last year you had a 1,000-yard rusher and productive backup running back, and you had fewer than 20 sacks. Is that sort of the standard that you want to improve on?
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty good for a 5-7 team, but if we want to win what we want to win, then we want 2,000-yard backs if we can get them, and 10 sacks. So we're going to try to be better than that, but I do think that's where the bar is. I think we want to be able to run the football. I think we have some really solid backs. I think we have depth there. I think we know Larry is very productive. Kobe's been very productive. Zuberi's been very productive. So those guys give us a 3-headed monster behind a deep offensive line where we can roll some people. So I think we can threaten you with the run game. As far as protecting the quarterback, I mean, that's our number one job on passes. So we want to continue to be good at that. Our defense poses a lot of problems in practice because they give us a lot of challenging looks and they're making us work. But I think that, like you said, that's a good bar, a good measure to be a solid running team. See if we can get 2 guys to 1,000 yards and see if we can really protect our quarterback and give him time. And so we push these guys pretty hard every day, and they're responding well.
Just in your time here, have the body types gotten bigger as we move into the American Conference? Do we need to kind of go after?
Yeah, we've intentionally gone after bigger athletes, just like the one you're going to talk to here in a little bit. He's the type of athlete we're bringing in. I mean, Chaz was a transfer we brought in here, a bigger athlete. So yeah, we were looking for bigger type bodies to play in our conference. We have a really good group, and at center, I don't think I really talked about Federico. I mean, he's been the lead guy at center for us, and he's a veteran player who started on and off games here, and right now he's going into the next practice probably as our starting center if we had a game right now. But he's being challenged, like I said, by Lamas, and we moved Alex in there, and Aquino King, a kid from Miami Northwestern, is also battling at center. So we've got some really good depth, and I think we'll jog a really good first unit out there.
How well have the freshmen in the O-line fared throughout fall camp, and
Say that again?
how well have the freshmen in the O-line fared throughout fall camp, and how have they adjusted to life at FAU?
Pretty well. I mean, we're throwing a lot at them, but I'm glad they're all here. I think at the end of the day, they might have hit the wall right now. They were here all summer. And then, you get into this practice and the third day in full pads, and you went short yardage yesterday and goal line today, and I think you could see a little bit of it in them, but they're very talented. Jordan Church is very talented. I mean, you've got Ovi DeBray in there, you've got Chris St. Jean, Braden Ramey. We have some pretty good freshmen O-linemen. They're big too, and they're learning the system. So I'm excited about their future, because eventually these older guys that we're talking about experience are going to leave, and then we're going to have to replace it with this young depth.
Yeah, and speaking of veteranship, Tom Herman did refer to Chaz Neal and Maranges as the guys who impressed him from the O-line so far. What do you think of how much they have impacted the O-line with their leadership and experience?
Well, I think it's how they come to work every day. I mean, both of them come to work, they take care of their business, they're professionals off the field and they're pros on the field. They lead by example, they lead by work ethic. Both of them are exhausted after practice, both of them give us everything they have. And they play at a high level too. I mean, it's one thing to be a leader vocally and not play at a high level, but when you play at a high level and you're a leader and you lead by example in terms of how hard you work, how hard you practice, how hard you compete, it's a good example. Those are two pretty good guys for our offensive line to follow.
Their example transcends just football. I mean, Federico is president of SAC, first one that's done it for 3 years straight, and I think Chaz does quite a bit community service-wise or outreach around campus. How do those guys fit time in for football and all that as well?
I mean, that's a credit to them, because both of them give a lot off the field to the university and to the community. And that's something that, not everybody is willing to do. And they're willing to put a lot into football, but also carve out whatever free time they have and use it to give back. So just speaks to what kind of people they are, what kind of heart they have, what their future is like when they get out of football. There's somebody that's going to be a productive citizen in their community and their state. It's amazing the high level of play and what they give to football and the number of hours they give off the field. And like in Federico's example, he's a very top student. So, I mean, he has, 3.9, 4.0 type grade. So, I mean, to do that with his extracurriculars and the amount of stuff he does in football, because he doesn't shortchange football. He's not the last guy here and the first guy out the door, or just the opposite. So he probably puts in about an 18-hour day every day.
You talk about effort, putting all your effort on the field, making sure everybody's putting in an elite amount of effort. That doesn't, especially when you're trying to reject the effort that does not resemble that of a 5-7 team. How important is it to have the O-line put in the effort to resemble that of an elite unit?
Well, I know I coach the O-line, but I don't think anybody here has ever coached on a really good football team that is a coach on this staff, and we have a lot of experience that's had a bad O-line, and they called it a really good team. There's just no correlation between that. So It starts up front. The beautiful thing is Coach Herman believes that and addresses that. If your offensive line plays well, you're going to give yourself a chance to win every game. If you can control the line of scrimmage and run the ball. So they need to come to work every day. They need to be ready to go. They need to set an example with work ethic, with attitude, with physicality. And if they do that, the rest of the things fall in line. When you can set up all the play action and RPOs with the run game, then it's going to help your quarterback and help your team. Time of possession, I think our defense would rather be on the field 25 minutes than 30 or 35 minutes. So running the ball controls the clock and rest your defense. So it all works together. But I mean, the blueprint that we have, the expectation is we need to play well up front for our blueprint of how to win games to come to fruition. Because our blueprint isn't fling it 60 times and out finesse people. That's not our blueprint. So
Coach Herman has put a lot of emphasis in nutrition, and I think that might be the most important thing for your guys, because this heat is, I'm sure, weighing on them. Have they been able to maintain their weight and get through camp okay? Or?
They've done a really good job, because I know Coach has really ramped up the budget for nutrition. And we have a nutritionist, Addie, who does a great job. And the players are well educated on the proper techniques of hydration the nutrition that they're getting, the type of meals. So we say it's their responsibility to get their weight back, but we give them all the tools and all the information that are helping them, and that's a credit to Coach Herman understanding the importance of that. So, and our players are reaping the benefits because I do see them maintaining their weight. I do see them keeping their strength up. Like I didn't feel like today would be a day where you could say you looked weak or slow or whatever. I didn't see that. So I think that's because of how hard they're working to make sure that their recovery, because their recovery starts the minute practice ends. They go right to the cold tanks and cool their bodies off, and then they have to get treatment if they need treatment, and then they go immediately and get food in their stomach, and then they hydrate on top of that. Because with food in your stomach, then obviously the absorption takes place of the liquids instead of going right through you. So they understand the whole cycle of how to re-energize their body, and we've given them a budget and a nutritionist to do it. So I mean, I like what they're doing. I feel like every day they show up ready to go.
Good for me.
Thank you.
Guys?
Thank you guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Ed.
You've been through a lot of these camps. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that have been implemented that are new this year and how that has affected you, or has camp slowed down for you?
Camp has definitely not slowed down. You know, it's fall camp. It's the way it should be. You know, as we all know, the heat has been extreme. But Coach Herman has definitely helped us out with our Club H2O breaks and giving us that time to rest and recover before we continue the practice. So I don't think that practice has slowed down at all. I think practice has actually ramped up, but I do think that Coach Herman has helped us recover with those good H2O breaks.
I did a bad job asking that question. I guess schematically, has the football continued to slow down for you, or like learning the plays, understanding your reads, and those kind of things?
I think that just comes with experience. This is my 5th year, so everything just seems slower. And since it seems slower, you can ID everything, you can check the play. If you know that the play is, not going to be effective, you can go to the quarterback, check out of it, and it's definitely helped out. These 5 years of experience, but Coach Warinner's definitely helped me out the most with that part. I think these past 3 years I've learned the most football I have because of him. So I give all those kudos to him.
We talk often about the experience of the offensive line, but you guys are going against a defensive line as well that's very experienced. Is it a case of iron sharpening iron?
Yeah, 100%. We have Evan Anderson up there. I think he was named all preseason. Jacob Merrifield has had a tremendous summer training. He's having a great fall camp right now. Latrell Jean and Decarius Hawthorne is also having a phenomenal fall camp. So I definitely think that it's in the case of iron sharpens iron.
And this last one for me is, I know that you're probably not in school right now, right?
Nope.
It's finished. How hard is that for you in managing time, especially as a pre-med type major, and then the student athlete president?
Actually, I think that because of school, because of the amount of workload that I have been able to adjust to and schedule, I think it's allowed me to be more productive because I've been able to, put everything in a calendar, schedule everything. If I'm at football, I'm at football. If I'm outside of football, I'm able to lock in at my academics. If I'm outside of academics, I'm doing my extracurriculars with SAC as president. So I definitely think that having that huge workload allows me to be more productive.
What's the biggest improvement you have seen this team make since the start of fall camp?
I definitely think that everybody's more bought in. We don't have any more ideas of thinking about the last play mentality. We're now thinking more of 1-0 mentality, thinking about the next play. Mm-hmm. If you screwed up the last play, leave it there, continue. Because if you think about the last play, you're just going to continue circling the drain, and that's just going to keep on negatively affecting you throughout the rest of practice. So I definitely think that 1-0 mentality, we're definitely being more prideful with our entire units. Offensive line has been closer than ever. Quarterbacks have been closer than ever. Tight ends, and that goes on both sides, defensive line. So I definitely think that, as one of our pillars, unit pride and 1-0 mentality, we've definitely strive to be better.
Coach Warinner said, the blueprint isn't we chuck it around 60 times. If you can, you want to be able to move people off the ball. As an offensive lineman, you say, yeah, put it on us.
Yep.
What's your attitude toward that?
I think we should run the ball down their throats until they just can't handle it anymore. And when they can't handle it anymore, keep on running the ball down their throats. That's our mentality in the offensive line room, and I think that's how it should be in a team that you want to succeed. We want all three of our running backs, Larry McCammon, Zuberi Mobley, and Kobe Lewis, to be a 1,000-yard rushing, each. And if that, give them some more, make them 2,000-yard rushers. So I think that's our mentality right now in the offensive line unit, and just as an entire offensive unit.
You have shared your responsibilities between the O-line and special teams. How much has Coach Warinner and Coach Lunsford been helpful in helping you handle your responsibilities between those two positions?
Oh, I think that, Coach Warinner and Coach Lunsford are so experienced. Coach Lunsford, he came from Georgia Southern. He has an awesome resume. Coach Warinner came from Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame. They have such amazing resumes that just gives them all the amount of experience, and they just teach us all that stuff, and all their thoughts just flow onto us. So I definitely think that Coach Lunsford and Coach Warinner are, definitely helping us out in both special teams and, in the offensive unit.
And how are you enjoying the competition within the O-line?
Oh, iron sharpens iron. So everybody, without competition, everybody's just gonna stalemate. So I think that the competition is just making us all be better. And if you really care for the program, you just want to continue winning. So you always have to have that 1-0 mentality, and being a competitive person, that's just the best thing you can do.
You guys good?
Thanks, Ben.
Just to open up a little bit about fall camp and maybe the last few days specifically about going through pads.
Like Herman said, he emphasizes we're gonna hit all the time, we're gonna get after it. It's a very different transition. We really work very hard, and we run the ball, and being in pads it's a whole different mindset. It's not wearing shorts. Wearing shorts and pads is very different from wearing full pads. Wearing full pads is you gotta get after it, man. Dog on dog, and like Fed said, iron sharpen iron. Yeah.
You are one of the many freshmen within the O-line, transferring from Arizona earlier this year. How much have you adjusted to life at FAU, and how much has Coach Warinner helped you develop within the O-line?
It was a very different transition, because learning something from my last school versus this school, and having two great coaches, and learning from Ed Warinner, one of the great coaches of all time of offensive line. He teaches you a lot of things, technique, and he wants to get after it. If he's on you, he loves you. He wants the best from you. He wants you to just be reach your full potential.
Given the competition on the O-line,
Say it again?
given the competition on the O-line, seems like there's a lot of guys who could play. Is it a matter of, in practice, you've got to be on point every rep? You can't afford to waste a rep?
Yeah, you gotta be on point, man. You can't. You gotta know what you gotta do, man. Because if after every play, he's gonna ask you a question during practice, and you get that wrong, you don't want to see that, man. Because if you mess up, it's gonna be the next man up. Because somebody comes down, the next guy behind you knows exactly what you're doing, the same technique, the same mentality. You gotta come every single day with your A game.
What does it say about this unit when they welcome guys in who know that they can make the program better or treat them as brothers before you've even stepped on the field together?
Nah, it's just when I that. Before we step on the field, it's already a brotherhood already. They embrace everybody before they came in, especially from the offense, from the defense, from the special teams. Everybody knew each other's name, the background, and everything like that. And I played against some of these guys in high school too. On top of that, and I was friends with a lot of them before I came here. So just that brother and that bond right there makes the team very special.
How do you feel competing with Chaz Neal for the right tackle?
Chaz, man, I learned a lot from him. I love competing with him, because he's Coach Warinner says, has a lot of experience, and I learned a lot from him. I don't take any insult from him or anything like that. Me and him, we share things amongst each other, and we help each other become better. So yeah, it's good competing with Chaz.
And what's one part of your game that you're looking to improve on as fall camp progresses?
I'll probably say the run game, because the way our run game is set up is not like a typical team. It's a system here. You got to get that system down, and I can't reveal too much, but like certain inside zone things, you got to understand how Warner wants it done. His system that he built, that he made, and it's not something that he made up on his own. It's something that he knows that he has done, and you got to do that.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
And